one of the most chaotic and roller coaster seasons I've ever seen. A miracle to get European football, but now what next? Without Poch there, it is just a mess at the club from top to bottom. I don't know what's going to come next. It is just a circus of a football club right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Player Zone YouTube channel and welcome to our Chelsea season recap. I'm surprised this isn't an hour long because this is some story. Chelsea, wow, from 12th come middle of the season to somehow ending up right at the top there in 6th place, getting Europa League football. Who would have thought? Pochettino works a masterclass, and now I find out the day of recording this, he has mutually agreed with the club to depart and leave the club, and now they are left in such an awkward position. Does De Zerbi join? Do they get Kieran McKenna now? What's going to happen with the whole in the management? Players seem not to be happy that the manager is gone. It's just all over the place. And that's just a summary of Chelsea across the last 24 months. But looking at this season, taking that away, you know what? It was very successful. You've ridden some bumps and you've got to learn some of the players. You've had another great season from Thiago Silva. Cole Palmer's produced one of these seasons, one of the best ever debut seasons ever for joining a new club in the Premier League. You've exposed some young players like Mudryk and Jackson who are trying to find their feet. Noni Madueke seems to find some great form as well. We've seen Conor Gallagher lift and rise to the occasion. We've seen players like Enzo not do well. Caicedo looking a bit worrisome in midfield. But you're starting to see some combinations develop. You miss Lavia all season. And Levi Cole was solid, then he's dropped off and got injured. Reece James has only been there for 7 to 8 games. It's all over the place. But you find Malo Gusto. It's all so much is going on. But it just felt like come the season's end, you started to see a shape. The front three was forming quite well. You had Cole Palmer in behind them. Caicedo was producing at a high level the last 5 or 6 games. And you had him alongside Conor Gallagher midfield. And you thought, wow, that front six, you can always let that go again next season and continue to do the good work. Yes, Thiago Silva is going, but Benoit Badiashile alongside a Fofana coming back from injury. Or any of the centre back combination. Chalobah performing at a high level as well. Reece James comes back and produces instantly since coming off the bench. But you got Malo Gusto, Ben Chilwell and Cucurella are findings in great form as well. Petrovic in goal has been a great find. Look, it's a starting 11. It's all good. It's all fine. Pochettino is producing, and now he's gone. So there's positives, there's negatives, there's roller coaster rides. There's a lot to unpack, but it's just been one of those seasons again for Chelsea where a lot's going on. In the end, they're probably in the positive though. And you see, look at the season record, 18 wins, 9 draws, 11 losses, 63 points. It's actually turned out to be a really, really solid season. You look at the best signing, obviously Cole Palmer, 47 million euros right now. Looks like an absolute joke. 22 goals, 11 assists. That looks like chump change for someone who's been their angel in many regards, carried them the start of the season, the first half of the year, where they're sitting in 11th, 12th and 10th. He was the only one producing for them, keeping them in games. Look back to that Man City game, look to the Arsenal game at Stamford Bridge. He was the one that was carrying that side over the line. He was doing a lot of the hard work and continued to do that throughout the season. Their worst signing, bit harsh, but I think Moses Caicedo was the worst signing in the end, £115 million. Yeah, the price tag makes it look poor, especially when you got Declan Rice for £100 million producing probably one of the player of the season type performances. And Moses Caicedo just couldn't get his feet grounded. Struggled in either a sole holding role or alongside Enzo. They didn't work well together. A lot of mistakes. Struggled on the ball. Didn't look like that progressive Moses Caicedo best as well. He couldn't get the ball transitioning well. I think his passing was limited. He looked a bit overwhelmed in the midfield. But slowly as the season progressed, as I said, he probably got better. But for that price tag, ridiculous. £115 million. Brighton probably got 30 to 40 more than they probably needed in the end, because the way he performed this season, he would look like a £60 million player at max, especially when you got the likes of Alexis McAllister for less than £40 million. So unfortunately, another overspend for them in that department, but hopefully next season with a few more games under his belt, he can start to fit in a bit better at Chelsea. Looking at the moment of the season, I think it has to be that chaotic comeback versus Manchester United. Cole Palmer scoring 2 goals in the 9th minute and the 11th minute, I think it was, of added time in the second half. Winning that game 4-3 was a bit of a catalyst to keep them kicking on towards the back end of the season. A great string of results there where I think they were 3rd in the Premier League since January or February, only behind Arsenal, Man City, showing how good the turnaround was. And that was one of those games where you were down and out, 3-2 down, get a 3-3, late equaliser there, and you go and do it again. And Cole Palmer produces again. It's just fantastic to watch. So a fabulous performance there. Once again, another fabulous Cole Palmer solo performance to get them over the line once again. But that probably goes down to the most memorable moment for such a chaotic season for Chelsea fans. Looking at the breakout player of the season, I think it's pretty easy. I'd go with Malo Gusto. 6 assists, 19 starts, averaging the 2 tackles and the 4.7 ball recoveries per game. In the absence of Reece James, definitely stood up. Again, probably not as good going forward as Reece James, but defensively not that far off it. Some great coverage. Did really well in such a chaotic Chelsea side and looked like for a lot of the season their most stable player, someone who can consistently give you that sort of 6 or 7 out of 10 type performance. Was handy at the ball at his feet, slow enough into tackles, never really got skipped past. I feel like he really covered ground well and didn't allow attackers to just skip past him at will. Held up really well defensively. I think that side of the park, that right-hand side of the park, was relatively solid defensively in the midfield areas for most of the season. And I think he was a key catalyst of that. I think whenever I watch Chelsea, he just sort of gave me a lot of confidence that he looked comfortable on the ball, he looked comfortable defensively, and looked like a really stable figure in there, considering how the team was being reliant on Reece James in seasons past and the start of this season. He really filled in that role well and makes me think, do you even need Reece James next season when you've got Malo Gusto performing like he is? Really impressed. 6 assists as well going since that. Only the 19 starts, really got forward and really produced for the side. Player of the season, pretty easy slam dunk. Cole Palmer, 22 goals, 11 assists, as I said. The young player of the season, arguably the player of the season as well. And just ridiculous how he was let go for so little by Man City, showing how much quality they've got. But boy, I think Chelsea fans, like, this is probably one of the best seasons you've seen from one of your players since the Eden Hazards, the Didier Drogba type seasons. This is up there with a bit of Chelsea heritage here. Terry and really like numbers, 20 and 10s. Just fantastic. Whenever they needed a bailout, he was there on that left foot, the wizard of a left foot, whether it be on the flank, but in the season down the middle where he looks most comfortable. He'll find a pass. He knows where to be. He's got that striker's instinct. He's built similar to Kai Havertz. And I like how these guys just have the instinct to find the right spot in the box. I think Cole Palmer, as much as he can score some worldies from outside the box and can score some penalties and free kicks, he just knows where to be when that ball's put into the area. He'll know how to get onto the edge of a ball, put the ball in the back of the net. He's such a dangerous finisher. And despite his being such a left foot dominant, I wouldn't be surprised if he puts it in his right and whacks it in the back of the net as well. It's just such an incredible scene. You're seeing him and Phil Foden do it at the exact same time. And I just feel like if Chelsea are going to go forward, this guy's the leader, the captain, or the face, whatever. He has to be the front runner. You build this team around him now because he's just a naturally gifted talent. The first time we've seen him just able to play football, play consistent 90 minutes, and look what he does. Like, we've seen snippets of this in the past off the bench and in some cup games or dead Man City games, but when there's pressure on the line, he stood up. Look at that Man United game, the Man City game at home, the Arsenal game at home. All 3 games at home, absolutely massive for them. Even Tottenham at home as well. You remember these games, you remember what Cole Palmer did, and he's just been that figure. The aura around him this season has been fantastic, and he might never get these numbers ever again because of how incredible they are. But boy, he'll continue to perform because whenever he's not maybe directly involved, he's always a part of what Chelsea do, and whatever they do well, it always goes through Cole Palmer. That's the biggest compliment I can give him. Everything that goes through him normally ends up in a good result. And he's got that vision similar to the De Bruyne-esque and what Florian Wirtz is producing in Germany. But he's got a wizardry of a left foot like we've seen so far in the Premier League, like Phil Foden and Bukayo Saka. And these dangerous left footers, it's just such a joy to watch them when they jink inside into the left edge of the box and just curl into the far corner. It's just fantastic. It's natural. It's just raw skill. It's just fantastic to watch. You can talk about him all day. And he's been the guy, the king, Chelsea's saviour. And without him, where would they have been come midpoint of the season? You'd think in probably 13th, 14th with how poor they were going. Look at the priorities for next season now, which have to been adjusted since they made these notes. Number one has got to be find a manager now. Now that Pochettino's left, you've got to find someone who can take over the project because this is now a £1 billion project that you can't just abandon with a new manager that doesn't want to play this other football or doesn't like these sort of players. Other teams, I'm fine, manager coming in and looking and finding their players and selling players I don't want, but you've got to find a manager who wants to play with these type of players, who wants to deal with the Jackson, the Mudryks, the Noni Maduekes, to make Enzo work with Lavio or Kaiser, whoever wants to work in midfield, because this is what you've got. You spent over £1 billion on these players. You can't have another manager come in and spend another £250 million on new players. They've got to come in and use what they've got, maybe make 1 or 2 signings here or there. That's the max. You can't go any further than that. So how chaotic this has been, you've got to try and sort this out as quickly as possible. And I say it for a lot of teams who are looking for managers, it is a volatile managerial market this summer, especially with a quick turnaround from the Euros. So you've got to find someone in the next few days/weeks. Second point, you've got to add a clinical striker, I think. I love what Nicholas Jackson done. I was supportive of him throughout the season. I thought, in all, his season was quite good and really a solid season and something to build off. But if Chelsea want to take that next step to get into the Champions League bracket, you've got to have someone who's going to be there 30 games out of 38 games and be amazing for those games. Nicholas Jackson's going to give you some 10 out of 10 games, but he can easily give you some 3 out of 10 type games. You want a more consistent, deadly striker up top that you can trust more often than not. And maybe Jackson becomes that off the bench striker or someone who can play off a flank if you're going to go really, really aggressive. So that's the second key point. And then I think thirdly, decide what you're going to do with Reece James. Are you going to sell him? Are you going to keep him but remove the captain? Are you going to keep him as captain and hope he's going to be fit? I just don't know. And I just don't think you can keep relying on him because it felt like over the last 24 months, whenever he's not there, the side's set up to have him in it, to have him dominate. And I keep saying it, when he's fit, probably the best right back in England. I'm going to stand by that. Going both ways, equally the best, some likes of Walker and Trent. But his full package supersedes all of them. And I think that's the difference. He has got the full package. When he's on the park, he's unstoppable. You saw in that Nottingham Forest game, first thing he comes on and does and whips a great ball into Nicholas Jackson. He changed the game for Chelsea. But if you can't rely on him because of his soft tissue injuries or even suspensions, you either got to sell him, you got to strip the captaincy of him, or if you keep him and he's going to be a captain, you got to make sure this guy is fit because you cannot keep relying on him. It is becoming a burden on the Chelsea team. So got to make your mind about Reece James. And I guess the fourth thing as well, try and keep the midfielders fit as well. Lavia has played all of 50, 60 minutes this season. Chukwuemeka has played basically nothing. Or Chuku has played nothing either. You had inconsistency with Enzo's fitness. Conor Gallagher and Kai Sado are the only ones really available in midfield, so you've got to find some more fitness in the midfield areas as well. You solve these injury problems, you've got a really deep sort of 30-man squad almost, so it will help if people stay fit. So really big summer for those not going away to the Euros to get their bodies right and come this next season fit and firing. With it all being said, the season grade for Chelsea I'm going to give is a B+. Maybe just because of how rocky it was and the way they finished so strong, you just have to give them a B+. They have exceeded what I ended up thinking they'd do. I think I had them 5th in the Premier League, my predictions, so just one spot below that. But considering how poor the start was, how inconsistent they were come the middle of the season, to put together a great sort of back 2 and a bit months of consistent football, of producing massive results, the 5-0 versus West Ham, the 4-3 comeback versus Manchester United, beating Tottenham at home, I think you've got to give them a B+. And the way Pochettino and the players have turned it around, fair play. It is all power to you guys. The mental strength to keep coming back and produce has been fantastic. But the question has to be now, who takes over now? Who can continue the good vibes and the good form going? Because it's not going to be easy to join this Chelsea team right now, especially with this circus of an ownership at the current point in time. Anyway, that's Adam, Mike and Joel. I've given them a B+ in the season. I've given Cole Palmer to take out most of these awards, but let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Who's been Chelsea's best signing, their most underwhelming signing? How would you grade their season? Let me know all that in the comment section down below. And where do they go to for next season? Because there's a lot of question marks and not a lot of answers at this current point in time. With that all being said, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please make sure to smash a like on it if you did. Subscribe to the Players Zone channel and press that post notification bell so you know we upload more content. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the upcoming football, and I'll see you guys on the video very, very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.